Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always?
Awesome. So today we're going to be exploring something really fascinating.
Ooh, I like fascinating.
I think you will. We're going to be looking at the connection between breath and mindfulness.
Okay.
And we've got a ton of really cool sources for this one.
Lay on me.
We've got guided meditations.
Nice. YouTube?
Yeah, a bunch from different YouTube channels.
Cool.
We also have some articles about mindfulness and even excerpts from some research papers about how breathing can actually impact your stress levels.
Wow.
Have you ever wondered how something as simple as like paying attention to your breath can completely change how you react to everything around you?
You know, I have. I've definitely experienced it, but I don't really understand the why.
Yeah, me too. And
Yeah.
that's what's so cool about all these sources is that even though they come from such different backgrounds,
Yeah.
they all seem to agree that your breath is like a secret weapon
Again, guest.
against stress.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about like air in, air out. It's about changing how you respond to things.
Exactly. And I have to admit, I was a little skeptical at first.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, okay, how can just breathing make that much of a difference?
Right.
But as I was going through these sources, I started noticing how often they talked about breath as this tool
Tool for.
for relaxation and stress relief.
Okay.
There was even this one meditation that described breath as like a bridge between our inner and outer worlds.
Ooh. That's deep.
So what is the science behind this? Like, how does it actually work?
Well, you can think about your breath like it's a remote control
A remote control for what?
for your nervous system.
Oh, interesting.
So when you take these deep, slow breaths, you're basically activating what's called your parasympathetic nervous system.
Hmm.
And that's like the chill switch, the one that counteracts that fight or flight feeling we all get when things get a little crazy.
Oh, so it's like you're short-circuiting that stress response before it can even really get going.
Precisely. And here's the really interesting thing. The opposite is true too.
What do you mean?
Have you ever noticed how when you're anxious or stressed out, your breath gets all shallow and rapid?
Yeah.
That's your body being stuck in that fight or flight mode.
Wow, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So our breath is literally reflecting our inner state.
It's almost like a biofeedback loop.
It is. It's like a mirror.
And if you think about the bigger picture, that's what makes mindful breathing so powerful.
In what way?
Because it's not just about relaxing your body, it's about actually shifting
Shifting what?
from reacting instinctively to responding thoughtfully.
Hmm.
So instead of getting swept away by whatever stress is coming at you, you use the breath to like anchor yourself in the present moment.
So you're saying it's like training your mind to handle anything.
Exactly.
It reminds me of how so many of these sources talk about the way Buddhist teachings emphasize the breath as this anchor
Mm-hmm.
to the present moment.
Yeah, there was one video I watched that talked about using your breath to cut through the chatter of your mind.
Yes. And it's not just about like quieting the mind though, right?
Right.
Like a few of them talked about how mindful breathing can help you become more aware of your thoughts and your emotions in general.
Absolutely. One of them described it as like the breath is a mirror reflecting your inner landscape
I love that.
and a guide leading you on a journey of self-discovery.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it is a journey inward.
It is.
But how do you actually do this?
How do you do what?
Mindful breathing.
Oh, well, that's where the fun begins.
Okay, tell me more.
There are so many different techniques like box breathing, alternate nostril breathing. One video even called it a symphony,
A symphony.
with each nostril playing its part.
I like that.
Yeah. Have you tried any of these?
You know, I've dabbled in a few, but I'm always curious to learn more, especially if it means I can actually use them to like calm myself down when things get a little crazy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's unpack a few of them because they're not just mystical rituals. They actually have real effects on your body and mind.
Okay.
Like take box breathing, for example.
Hmm.
This is a really simple technique for regulating your breath and calming your nervous system down.
Okay.
And it's almost like you're hitting a mental reset button.
I like that. How do you do it?
So you inhale for a count of 4,
Okay.
hold your breath for 4,
Uh-huh.
exhale for 4, and hold again for 4.
Mm-hmm.
And it's surprisingly effective.
Really?
Yeah, especially in those like high pressure situations. Have you ever tried that one?
I haven't tried box breathing specifically, but I can see how that like rhythmic breathing could be really helpful in creating a sense of calm, especially when you put it like that, like drawing a box and letting each side be a part of the breath.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is you can do it anywhere, anytime. You don't need any special equipment. You don't need a quiet room. You just need your breath. And once you get the hang of it, It can be such a powerful tool for dealing with those stressful moments.
Okay, box breathing is definitely going on my to-try list. Now, what about alternate nostril breathing?
Yes.
That one has always sounded a little intimidating.
It might sound a little exotic, but it's not that complicated.
Okay.
And it's surprisingly effective.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, you use your thumb and your ring finger to close off one nostril at a time, and you just inhale through one side, exhale through the other.
Oh, okay.
And it's thought to balance the energy flow in your body and promote a sense of calm and mental clarity.
So each nostril is like taking turns playing its part in the symphony of breath.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's like you're giving your brain a gentle massage.
Mm.
And research actually suggests it can influence your brainwave activity and put you in the state of relaxed alertness.
That's pretty cool. So I'm starting to get a sense of how these different techniques offer unique pathways to calming down, to becoming more present. Some are very structured, like box breathing. Others are more free-flowing, like alternate nostril breathing, but still have that focused rhythm.
Exactly. It's about finding what resonates with you, what fits your needs at any given moment. And the cool thing is you don't have to choose just one. You can experiment and see what works best for you in different situations.
So it's like a toolkit.
It is a toolkit for well-being.
A toolkit for well-being. I like that.
Right.
So we've got box breathing, alternate nostril breathing. Are there any other techniques that these sources highlighted?
Oh, well, if you're looking for something super straightforward, there's a technique called breath focus.
Okay.
And it's all about simply paying attention to your breath without trying to change it.
So you're not doing anything special, you're just noticing it.
Exactly. It's about cultivating mindfulness,
Okay.
which is that non-judgmental awareness of the present moment.
Okay, so that sounds simple enough. How do you actually do it? Do you just sit there and breathe?
You can.
Yeah.
Just find a comfortable position.
Okay.
You can close your eyes if you like, and just bring your attention to the natural rhythm of your breath.
Okay.
And you might notice the subtle sensations, like the coolness of the inhale, the warmth of the exhale, the gentle rise and fall of your chest and your abdomen.
Okay, I get that, but my mind tends to wander a lot.
Everyone's does.
Okay.
Yeah, I can already see myself getting distracted by my to-do list or what I'm going to have for dinner. That's completely normal. The key is to simply notice when your mind wanders and gently guide your attention back to the breath.
Oh.
So no judgment, just gentle redirection. It's like training a puppy. It takes practice and patience.
So it's about building that mental muscle, that ability to bring your focus back to the breath over and over again.
Exactly.
It almost makes me think of breath as an anchor, keeping you grounded in the present moment, even when everything else is swirling around you.
That's a perfect analogy.
It is.
Your breath becomes your touchstone. Your point of reference bringing you back to the here and now.
Yeah.
And with practice, you develop this greater capacity to stay present, to observe your thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them.
So you're not getting knocked over by them,
Exactly.
but you're still aware of them.
Exactly.
So it's like you're learning to ride the waves of your own mind.
It is. It's like a superpower that we all have. We just forget to use it.
That's true.
Right.
Okay, I am really intrigued now. We've got all these different techniques, box breathing, alternate nostril breathing, breath focus, and they all seem to have their own unique benefits.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, do these sources say anything about how to actually create a personalized practice? Like, how do we know which ones to use when?
That is a great question. That's something we're going to be exploring more in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, good.
We're going to talk about how to actually tailor your practice to your individual needs and your goals.
Sounds good. But before we move on, I'm curious. Out of everything we talked about so far, is there any one thing that really stood out to you?
You know, what really struck me is how accessible all of this is.
In what way?
You don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need years of training to tap into the power of your breath. It's available to everyone right here, right now. All you need is a little bit of curiosity and a willingness to experiment.
That is a great point. It's like we've got this incredible resource within us that we can start using today to feel calmer, more focused, and more resilient.
It's pretty amazing.
Who knew breathing could be so powerful? We'll be back in a moment to delve a little bit deeper into how to create your own mindful breathing practice.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Welcome back. So we've explored all these incredible breathing techniques.
We have.
Box breathing, alternate nostril breathing.
Breath focus.
Breath focus, yeah. It's like we've got this whole toolkit now
I know.
for managing stress
Yeah.
and cultivating inner peace.
It is. And the beauty of it is you can personalize it, right? You pick the tools that work for you in different situations.
Yeah, that's what I'm really curious about. These sources all talk about creating a personalized practice.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that?
Where do we begin?
Yeah, where do we begin?
Well, one source suggested starting with just simple awareness.
Okay.
So like noticing your breath throughout the day without judgment.
Okay.
Just like dipping your toes into the mindfulness pool before you do a deep dive.
Okay, I can see how that would be a good first step. But how do we move beyond that simple awareness to actually like incorporating these techniques into our lives?
One approach that came up in a lot of these sources
Yeah.
was to create what they called a mindfulness menu.
A mindfulness menu.
Yeah. It's like having a list of your favorite breathing exercises
Huh?
and techniques that you can choose from
Okay.
based on what you need in a given moment.
Oh, I love that. So it's like figuring out which techniques work best for different situations.
Yeah.
Like if I'm feeling super anxious, maybe box breathing is my go-to.
Right, exactly.
But if I need a boost of energy
Yes.
before a big presentation, maybe alternate nostril breathing is a better choice.
It's like becoming your own breathwork DJ, you know, mixing and matching techniques to create the perfect playlist for your well-being.
That's a good analogy. So as you experiment, you start to figure out what works best for you.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But you know what I struggle with?
What's that?
Consistency.
Oh, yeah?
I start out with good intentions, and then life just gets in the way.
Oh, for sure.
And I totally forget to practice.
Yeah.
Do these sources have any tips for how to make mindful breathing a regular habit?
Well, one thing that they emphasized over and over again was that consistency is key.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You know, you don't have to spend hours meditating every day to reap the benefits. Even just a few minutes of focused breathing can make a huge difference.
So it's about quality over quantity.
Exactly. It's about showing up for yourself consistently, even if it's just for like 5 minutes each day. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. It's like any skill. The more you do it, the more natural it feels.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about before. It's like building that mindful breathing muscle.
It is.
The more you strengthen it, the easier it is to access it when you really need it.
Exactly. And remember, self-compassion is crucial here.
Okay.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
If you miss a day or two, don't beat yourself up about it.
Okay.
Just start again the next day.
That's good advice. You know, one thing that really stood out to me from one of the guided meditations was this idea of treating each breath as an opportunity for a fresh start.
I love that. Each breath is a new beginning,
Yeah.
a chance to let go of any tension or negativity,
Yeah.
and just embrace the present moment with a renewed sense of energy and clarity.
It's like hitting the reset button,
It is.
but in a very gentle and nurturing way.
Yeah. And the more you practice, the more you'll start to see those little moments throughout the day as opportunities to reconnect with your breath,
Okay.
to create those pockets of peace and presence.
So it's not just about a formal practice.
Right.
It's about weaving those mindful moments into your everyday life.
Exactly. It could be as simple as taking a moment to focus on your breath while you're waiting in line at the grocery store,
Yeah.
or while you're stuck in traffic.
Or maybe like right before you answer a really stressful email.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see how that would make a big difference. It's like having a secret weapon against stress.
It is. And it's always available to you,
That's
no matter where you are or what you're doing.
Mm.
And the more you use it, the more powerful it becomes.
You know, one of the YouTube videos talked about how mindful breathing can help you transform your reaction to challenging situations. They gave this example of like having to face a difficult conversation
Okay.
and using the breath to create space before you respond.
That's a perfect example of how mindful breathing can empower you to respond
Yeah.
from a place of greater skill and wisdom, rather than just reacting out of habit or fear.
So it's about interrupting that like automatic stress response
Yeah,
and choosing a more thoughtful path.
exactly. It's like that split second where you can either say something you'll regret,
Yeah.
or you can take a deep breath and respond with more composure.
It's about pausing before you act.
Precisely. And that pause, that conscious choice to breathe, can make all the difference. It allows you to step out of those reactive patterns and access your inner resources and respond in a way that aligns with your values, your intentions. It's about creating that space between stimulus and response where mindful breathing becomes your anchor,
Okay, so we're not just calming down, we're
Correct.
actually like rewiring our brains to respond to stress differently.
Exactly. You're training your nervous system to choose calm over chaos.
It's like we're upgrading our operating system.
I love that analogy.
Like-
It's like installing the latest mindfulness software,
Yeah,
and you're giving your mind the tools it needs to navigate life
yeah.
with more ease and resilience.
So we're taking these insights about breath and mindfulness and making them practical, applicable to those everyday moments where we tend to get really stressed out.
Exactly. It's about integrating these practices into the fabric of your life
Yeah.
so that mindfulness becomes less of a chore
Uh-huh.
and more of a way of being.
Okay, so we've talked about creating a mindfulness menu. We talked about practicing consistently and integrating mindful breathing into our daily lives. Are there any other tips for building a personalized practice?
Well, one of the sources emphasized the importance of finding what resonates with you personally.
Okay.
It's not about following a rigid set of rules.
Uh-huh.
It's about exploring different techniques and finding what feels good in your body.
So being curious and experimenting, seeing what speaks to you.
Exactly. Approach this with a sense of playfulness
Yeah.
and curiosity.
Uh-huh.
Try different things.
Yeah.
See what works for you. And don't be afraid to adapt and adjust as you go. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to mindfulness.
That's such an important point. It's about what works for you,
Yeah.
not what you think you should be doing.
Exactly. It's about honoring your unique needs and preferences.
You know, one thing that really resonated with me
Hmm.
from one of the mindfulness articles was this idea of bringing a sense of gratitude to your practice.
That's beautiful. It's about appreciating the gift of breath, acknowledging the incredible capacity of your body
Uh-huh.
and mind to heal and grow.
It's like saying thank you
It is.
to yourself for taking the time to nurture your well-being.
Exactly. And that sense of gratitude can really deepen your practice
Make it more meaningful.
and make it more meaningful.
Okay, so we've got lots of great tips for creating a personalized practice, starting with simple awareness, building a mindfulness menu, practicing consistently, integrating mindful breathing into our daily lives, experimenting with different techniques, and bringing a sense of gratitude to our practice.
That is a lot.
It is a lot, but it's a journey, right? Not a destination.
Exactly.
One breath at a time. Speaking of journeys, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What did you find most helpful in these sources?
What really resonated with me was the emphasis on self-compassion.
Okay.
It's so easy to get caught up in striving for perfection.
Yeah, that's true.
But these sources remind us that mindfulness is really about being kind to ourselves,
Yeah.
about meeting ourselves where we are, with a sense of gentleness and understanding.
It's not about judging ourselves for not being good enough at meditating or breathing the right way. It's about showing up with an open heart
Exactly.
and a willingness to learn and grow.
It's about embracing the journey, imperfections and all.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here in this deep dive into creating a personalized mindful breathing practice.
We have.
We've explored some really practical tips, inspiring insights.
And we even did a little bit of breathwork DJing.
We did. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore how mindful breathing can help you manage stress and navigate life's challenges.
Those curveballs.
Those curveballs with a greater sense of ease and resilience.
Love it.
Sounds good. We'll be back in a moment to continue our exploration of the power of the breath.
Welcome back. It's amazing, right?
It is.
Like we've been uncovering how powerful our breath can be. It's like
Uh-huh.
we've got this built-in stress management system, this mindfulness mentor all rolled into one.
I know, and as we were talking about in the last part, it's not about finding one right way to breathe. It's about finding what works for you.
Absolutely. It's like we're creating our own mindful breathing playlists,
Right.
picking and choosing the techniques
Yeah.
that work best for us in different situations.
Yeah, exactly. But like keep coming back to this question of like, how do we use this stuff in real life?
Yeah.
You know, because life throws curveballs, right?
It does.
Things happen.
Yeah.
How can mindful breathing actually help us in those moments where we just feel totally overwhelmed?
That is such a great question. And that's actually something that a lot of these sources talk about.
Okay.
They point out that with practice, mindful breathing can actually help us transform those knee-jerk reactions
Yeah.
that we all have
Uh-huh.
when stress hits
Yeah.
into more thoughtful, skillful responses.
So you're saying it's not about becoming some kind of Zen master who never feels stress,
Right, exactly.
but it's about learning to navigate those tough moments
Yeah.
with more grace and ease.
Exactly. Like, imagine you're stuck in traffic, right?
Yeah.
You're already late,
Yeah, it's the worst.
and frustration is like mounting.
Oh, yeah.
And instead of letting that anger take over,
Yeah.
you take 3 deep, conscious breaths. And those breaths create this pause,
Mhm.
a little space between the trigger the traffic and your reaction.
Yeah.
It's like hitting the pause button on a movie.
I like that.
You get to choose how you want the next scene to play out.
It's like we're the directors
You are.
of our own inner experience.
Exactly.
And breath is our way of saying cut.
It is. You become less reactive and more responsive.
That's a good thing.
And what's amazing is every time you make that conscious choice
Yeah.
to breathe through a stressful moment, you're literally rewiring your nervous system.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're training your brain to choose calm over chaos. You're building resilience.
It sounds almost too simple. Like, can just breathing really make that much of a difference in how we handle those big stressful moments?
Well, think of it this way.
Okay.
Professional athletes, they train their bodies rigorously
Yeah.
to perform at their best.
Right.
Mindful breathing is like training for your mind.
Mm.
The more you practice, the stronger you become. The more easily you can access that inner calm.
When you need it.
Exactly.
So it's like having a mental gym membership.
It is.
You might not see a six-pack,
Right.
but you're building some serious inner strength.
Exactly.
Mm.
And just like with physical exercise, consistency is key. You don't have to meditate for hours, even just a few minutes of dedicated breathing practice each day can make a huge difference.
One of these sources actually recommended trying to incorporate mindful breathing into those little transitions throughout the day.
Oh, yeah.
Like before you check your email as
Yeah.
you're walking from one meeting to the next.
Perfect moments.
Yeah, just taking a moment to kind of tune in
Tune in.
to your breath.
It's a great way to weave mindfulness into the fabric of your day.
I like that. It's those little moments of awareness
Yeah,
that add up
they do.
to create a ripple effect.
Exactly.
Calm and presence.
Your whole life.
It's like turning those little everyday moments
Yeah.
into mini meditation retreats.
I love that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more you'll find that mindful breathing becomes less of a chore and more of a natural part of your day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like learning a new language. At first, it takes effort and concentration.
Yeah.
But eventually, it just flows.
Yeah.
It becomes more integrated.
Speaking of integration, one of the guided meditations I came across offered this really powerful visualization
Okay. Yeah.
for dealing with difficult emotions.
Mm.
It suggested imagining those emotions as like waves in the ocean
Okay.
and your breath as a surfboard,
Ooh, I like that.
riding those waves, staying afloat even when the waters get choppy.
Such a great visual. That
Yeah.
really captures what mindful breathing is all about.
Yeah.
It's about learning to ride the waves of life's ups and downs
Yeah.
with more skill and awareness,
Uh,
and using your breath as your anchor,
yeah.
your guide, your surfboard.
Not getting wiped out by those big emotional waves.
Precisely. And remember, even the best surfers, they get knocked down sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
The key is to learn from those wipeouts.
Yeah.
Get back on the board
Mm.
and keep practicing.
So it's about bringing that same attitude of self-compassion
Absolutely.
to our mindful breathing practice.
Yes.
It's not about judging ourselves
Right.
if we get distracted
Exactly.
or overwhelmed,
It happens.
but it's about starting again,
Yeah.
fresh with each breath.
Each breath is a new beginning.
It is. Listening to you talk about this, I'm starting to think about mindful breathing less as like a technique
Mhm.
and more as a way of being.
It is.
It's about cultivating this different relationship
Yeah.
with our own experience.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about shifting from a state of constant doing to a state of being.
Mm.
Just noticing what is
Mm-hmm.
without judgment,
Yeah.
and using your breath as a guide
Mm.
to navigate those experiences with more ease,
Yeah.
more awareness.
What's so exciting about all of this is that it really is accessible to everyone, right?
It is.
We all breathe. We all have this incredible tool within us.
We do.
We just need to remember to use it.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like we have this built-in superpower,
Yeah.
and we're just starting to tap into its potential.
So as we wrap up our deep dive here into the world of breath and mindfulness,
Yeah.
what's one thing that you hope our listeners take away from this conversation?
I hope they leave feeling empowered,
Okay.
knowing that they really do have everything they need within themselves to manage stress,
Mm.
cultivate inner peace,
Hmm.
and navigate life's challenges with more skill and resilience. And it all starts with a single breath.
That's beautiful. And remember, you don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start. You can start right now, right here with this breath. Just notice it, feel it, appreciate it. It's a gift. It's a constant source of renewal and possibility.
May your breaths be deep, your minds be clear, and your hearts be filled with peace.